All right, let's see, we're going to record, so if you got to duck in or out, please do so as quietly as you can, potentially even under the camera or out this way. We've got some burritos in the back and some waters and stuff like that if you guys are hungry or have not got a chance to get a bite to eat. So, my name is Sam. I'm on the staff here at Cherry Creek Properties. I head up the mentor program, so we have some 30 or 40 mentors and some 200 plus mentees in the program, and I oversee that and have been a file auditor over this last year as well. How many guys do we have? How many people do we have here that are already licensed but just coming from another company? All right, and then we got a couple of new people, brand new license and stuff too? Okay, great. The folks with the brand new license may get lost on a few things that I want to touch on, but I want to encourage you that if you have a brand new license, you will be in the mentor program and have a mentor, and anything that I touched on that was over your head, then feel free to check with your mentor, take notes. Also, you can ask questions as we go, or come and see me afterwards and I can answer questions and stuff like that too. We want to make sure that you guys get everything that you need here today. And if you've got a mentor there, they'll be able to supplement that. Also, we are recording today, so we will, if you need to revisit some of this, or I went a little bit too fast, you'll be able to kind of revisit and see if you can get your answers there doing it that way. So I want to pass out a few things here. First thing I have is a reference guide. This is the package for everybody. When you first sign up, this package is essentially in your little folder and everything. Do I have enough? Do you guys have some already?
I have one.
Oh, do you? Okay. All right, I'm going in there.
Thank you.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I'll leave one here with you anyhow, just in case. Okay. You guys can leave notes, scribble away, anything you want to do. First thing I want to tell you is that we have our starters classes every week here. In the fourth quarter, we have them here on Wednesdays from 10 to 12. There's one going on tomorrow. If you're new to the business, or you just like to take a few classes and kind of get the juices flowing and all that kind of stuff there, anybody at Cherry Creek can certainly attend our STARS classes. These are taught by our mentors, lots of different stuff. A couple of the ones that I teach involve low-cost lead generation, and that video is online. I'll show you that stuff. So, and then scripts and dialogues, things like that are useful even for folks that have been around for a while. Sometimes that can help. So I'll pass a few of those. You guys want to check those out. It's a good time of class, and all those classes are actually on video now as well. So you guys can check these out in full in the comfort of your own home, and there you go. Okay, so we're going to get into our first thing here, and that is the dashboard. This is kind of the brain or the center of Cherry Creek Properties and all of the goings on and all the stuff that we have happening. This is the website for it. Hopefully you're acquainted with it. The website is ccpre.com. That is right there on your reference guide. And so I want to take you down to where you log in. So this is our main website, ccpre.com. If you're not familiar with that, go ahead and write it down. And here at the bottom, you've got your agent login, and that's where you're going to go to get into your dashboard. When you first joined the company, you probably got an email with your logins here for this kind of stuff. If you did not get an email, or you think you might have but you can't find it, it's gone, whatever, you can talk to our receptionist downstairs, Shelly, and she'll make sure you get your logins. Or you can even email Shelly at receptionist@ccpre.com. ccpre.com is kind of our central email system for everybody. So receptionist@ccpre.com will get you to our receptionist for that, for logins and stuff if you got stuck there. And then also Cindy Sullivan, I wanted to introduce. She's our new office manager. She's sitting in here on our first orientation. Welcome, Cindy. Cindy's email address is right on the top of this package I sent you as well. It's office@ccpre.com. So if you do need to inquire or check in with her, feel free to do so, and we'll be able to serve whatever you need. Because she's a little bit newer, hopefully you'll have a little bit of a grace with that there, and she's got lots of support folks there to make sure that we've got all the answers we need for everybody. Okay, so hopefully you've got your login to your dashboard. If you don't, we'll get it for you. And so we showed you the website here. You hit the agent login, and it takes you to this wonderful place, which I think I'm already logged in. Yes, I am. Okay, this is what our dashboard looks like. First thing I will tell you is, you guys, I've had agents join sometimes, and they join, and a month or two goes by, and then they show up or they call, and they're like, well, I don't know, I joined, but I don't really, know what's going on or what I'm supposed to be doing or whatever like that. This is the answer to that question. So if you're getting stuck or you're isolated or it feels like nobody's talking to you or you don't have answers or whatever like that, this dashboard is the key to everything. We have all of our classes here. Right here, class registration. You can run your calendar and stuff like that. We've got links for all of our agent tools, including our file management system, which I'm going to show you guys in a little bit, where you upload your files to and stuff like that. All kinds of stuff going on here. There's new listings that show up, and there's some other resources I'll show you. So you'll want to make sure you know how to log into your dashboard for sure. And what I would encourage you, especially in your early days at Cherry Creek Properties, would be to log in here every morning. Take a minute. I mean, we all get up in the morning. First thing you do, at some point or another, we get on the computer and we're going to do something. You're going to clear out your email, stuff like that. I would encourage you to take a few minutes to get on the dashboard just to see what's going on. Most of the classes right here are free. Almost everything on the board. Every now and then they'll have a mandatory commission update class that costs a few bucks or whatever, but there's classes that go on in this classroom almost every single day, all kinds of stuff here. Avail yourself of it. Most of it's free. They've got MLS and Matrix stuff. They've got CTM stuff. CTM can do stuff that I still don't know about. Matrix and MLS, not only is it all complex, and they rolled out this new thing over this last year, but they're rolling out all kinds of new stuff again. 2 weeks ago they were here in orientation talking about they're going to add rentals. Major changes are coming to the MLS Matrix. So get into those classes, please, for real. And even to the extent that it could open up a new revenue stream for you or new opportunities in that realm. So I want to encourage you guys to do that. So this is your dashboard. This is where you'll find a lot of stuff. And I want to show you some things up here. There's a messaging center here, and you can use your Cherry Creek Properties email. But this is kind of a forwarding function. So if you click on the little blue button up here, you'll go to a place with all of your messages and things like that. All I really have here is I registered for classes, and I get a little message in here that says I registered, and then I get another message that says, okay, classes today, don't forget. So I don't really utilize this a whole lot, and I think folks generally don't do that. If you have people email to your CCPRE email address, it will forward automatically to whatever email address you provided us when you signed up. So once again, you can use that email address, but it forwards to that, and then when you go to reply to it, it comes from your normal email. So I just kind of skip the CCPRE thing just to avoid confusion, but you guys can use it however you like. And then let's see, listings right here. This will show what listings you have and things like that. There's some neat stuff here, and I'm going to show you. There's training on the dashboard. There's a manual and some videos just on how to get around this stuff. And we also have classes in here on the dashboard from time to time, because the dashboard does drip campaigns where you can put in all of your contacts. It's got full contact management software. You can put in all of your people. You can put in automatic emails, so every 18 days or 30 days or whatever it is, people are getting an email from you that you've already created, stuff like that. So you can really automate yourself and stay in touch with a lot of folks without putting in tons of effort. So what I want to encourage you guys with the dashboard is I'm going to blow through it way quicker than I'd like. We have whole classes on this because there's really a lot of neat stuff that you can utilize this for, and we don't have the time for that here today. So I just at least want to encourage you. I want to touch on some of the key stuff and then encourage you guys to get in for a class on this stuff, or at least take some time. Poke around, just like any other website or place you got to go or figure out or whatever. Just take some time, mess around, click some buttons, see what they do. That kind of stuff. Check out the little tutorial videos and stuff like that, and it'll really make a difference for you. Here's your lead contact stuff, and here right down here is your drip marketing. So you can get in there and fool with that and experiment with it. I know there's a few tricks in here that'll really make it worthwhile. Like taking one class will save you all kinds of brain damage. So if you really want to do the drip marketing campaign, check that class out for sure. Our business directory. Oh, we have another thing here I didn't touch on, the Broker Wolf. This will show you your earnings for the year, all of your commissions and stuff like that have occurred, and then it'll also show your expense reports, all of your office bills, everything's been billed through the office and stuff like that. So that can help you for tracking your finances and your tax stuff and all that. Business directory. This is our key one here. This is files, and there's lots of stuff in here all you guys are going to want. So please be aware of the file one. When you click it, you'll get this lovely little window right here. I'm going to pull over this way so I can see it a little better. There's these little files here, and there's a little plus sign next to them. If you click the file, you will get nothing. If you click the plus sign, you will get what you want. So just be aware of that. I don't know why that is, but I've seen it before, and it's just a thing. So I've clicked on the company files, and here in our office docs, here's all the magical stuff that you guys want. I wish I had a little bit better focus, but I think we're going to have to wing it. In the end, you guys want to get on the site anyway and look through these files, but I'll show you just as an example of a few things. There's an affiliated business disclosure, so if you've got a buyer that you're working with and you're going to run them through SkyStar Mortgage, they're going to want to sign this thing just so that they're signing, they understand there's an affiliation, and all that keeps us out of trouble. Let's see, guide to the CCP dashboard right there. I really can't see that very well. CCP reference guide. Let's see. This is an agent out of town form. So when you're going out of town and you're getting someone to cover your business, you can identify them, people can sign it, and you can send it into office@ccpre.com so that if a crisis happens or something's coming down the pike when you're out of town, we've got a reference. We know that you're out of town and we know who to call when that's covering and so forth. So you want to keep your eye on that. There's a spot here for CDAs. This is your commission disbursement authorization. Allows you to get paid right at the closing table. And I'll get into that here in a little bit and show you how to fill them out, the whole thing, but they're all here. They're here in Excel format and also in PDF format. And then they're in there for Inc. and LLC. If you are a member of the Board of Realtors, you will be on the LLC side of the company and you're going to have your transaction fees $199. If you've chosen to not join the Board of Realtors, you'll be on the Inc. side of the company. Everything will work for you essentially the same, except your transaction fee is $249. So depending on where you are, though, you want to make a distinction on those. Here is your CRES E&O policy here that Richard was talking about, and this is your declaration page. So if you ever need to show that to somebody for whatever something you're working on, whether it's REO folks or just whatever else, this is your deck page right here, so you can access that. And on that note, I would kind of sum up what he was talking about with the insurance and all that. That this is a really, really good time for us to double check all of our insurance. We're coming up on the new year. You've just come to Cherry Creek Properties, so you've got all kinds of new stuff going on in your situation. I would encourage you to revisit all of your insurance on everything. I think that should happen from every year or two, probably for all of us, and this is the ideal time. So here I've got you, so I thought I'd just bend your ear and let you know. EPA lead-based paint pamphlet. There's a little pamphlet you can get that you can give to buyers showing that what lead-based paint is and why it's a hazard and so forth. And there's also a form along with that they can sign that says, yes, I've gotten the pamphlet. It's a common form. I've actually seen it from time to time over the years. Cherry Creek Properties is requiring that, so there's a form of it here, and it's also on CTM. It's a super easy document. There's nothing on it. It just says, I acknowledge I got the pamphlet. Writer signs off. So not much to it, but that form is here as well as on CTM. We've got logos right here, so we've got different pictures, JPEGs and things like that, different marketing materials like that. So if you guys want to make some marketing materials and wonder where our logos and colors and things like that so you can work from it, that's where it's at. Show you a few other things. There is a mold disclosure here. There's a Lone Wolf webinars. This is your Lone Wolf system, so you can check out the webinars there if you want. Mold disclosure. Cherry Creek Properties requires a mold disclosure, even though the Real Estate Commission doesn't require that anymore. We have them on the dashboard. They are in CTM also. They're hiding in CTM. They are there. If you join Cherry Creek Properties and you have CTM, you will have the Frescona package of documents, and about halfway through that is the Colorado mold disclosure, and that's what you want to use out of CTM. Annual mold disclosure will do. If you cannot get the buyer or seller to sign a mold disclosure, which happens sometimes, you want to write right on there, seller refused to sign or buyer refused to sign, and you'll be able to upload it and you'll get accepted. Because we can't force them to sign it, but we at least want to do our diligence. If we want to do at least what we can do, right? Protect our clients, protect ourselves, protect your license. Office policies on here, SkySlope. This is the training stuff here for the file management system I'm going to show you here in a little bit. I don't know if you're going to use a lot of this because I'm going to give you a couple of tricks where you can blow right past it and inform yourself much quicker. This is STARS training. I'm not sure how much of this will be useful for you guys as far as the STARS classes because these are PowerPoints. So these are more for the teachers to kind of go off of and expand on all of the bullet points and things like that. But right below it right here is your training videos. And there's a little document right here. It's just a Word document, so you just download that, and it's got all the YouTube links in it for all the weeks, all the classes and everything right there. So this is kind of nice. You just grab the Word document, and then you can just kind of use it as your leisure and not have to mess with it much. And that's about the worst of it. So I would encourage you guys to get in there and check out the files. That is a key place. Okay. Your file stuff right here. Also on your admin, this is something you guys are going to want to do. This is where you want to build your own profile. So when you click on my profile right here, it'll take just a second. It'll give you an opportunity to upload a picture for yourself. You can put in a little bio and things like that. You've got login information and so forth. What office you associate with. You've got just an about me where you can put your stuff there and all that. Upload a picture. There's, I wish I could read that a little bit better. Newsletter notes and a blog URL if you run a blog and stuff like that. You want to have a link on your profile there. You can put a spot for that. So I would encourage you guys to once again get in there. And there's all these tabs here for different stuff. And just this is once again something I can't train you guys on intensively just because we've got so much to cover, but make sure you know how to log into the dashboard. Log into the dashboard every day, please, as much as you can. I don't want you guys to isolate. I don't want you guys to fail and end up, having to go to some other company. Get in, get connected. I will tell you guys, just from one-on-one, from one broker to the next, I do much better in a brokerage when I'm around my colleagues, when we're talking real estate and all that. I find it really stimulating and helpful to me. And when I'm isolated in my basement office and there's laundry and everything else like that, I am much less effective. So hopefully you guys will be able to take a page from that and make sure that you're staying on track. Okay, see what else I can show you here on the dashboard. There are a bunch of tricks here that I do not know how to do because I have not been able to take a lot of the training classes because I've been working 40 hours a week down here on the staff. That's changed a little bit, so I'll have some more time to work on some of this. This is your link for your file management system where we're going a little bit, so just be aware of some of these links. You've got your realtor boards and things like that if you need to go to it. MLS classes right here. Training stuff here. There's a mobile app training. You guys are probably familiar with the Mobility RE application that we have at Cherry Creek that you guys get to use. It's a free application. Text this number to that number, and it's a lead generation tool. I will touch on that here in a little bit, but there's training for that stuff. So like I say, this is kind of your center for all of the places that you're going to want to go. The training's right there to be had. Here's your dashboard training video. Once again, I wish I could see it a little bit better. MLS classes and so forth. So you can also, if you want to rearrange this stuff, you can move it around. These are widgets, so you can kind of grab this and move the whole thing over if you want to have your classes up here in the top left or just that kind of stuff. So that's handy to know. There's like I said, there's all kinds of stuff on here that I don't even know all the tricks of the darn thing, so I would encourage you guys to get good at it. Use it as a tool. It certainly is a software that costs money, but it doesn't cost you anything. So we would encourage you to use the resources that are available as much as you can. Okay, let's dig into this quick reference information. You guys all see this? The second page here is our pretty cover page, but I had to put this one up front because this one's got all the goods. What happens is we were putting this page on the back, and everybody's like, well, what's this and what's that and how do I get to it? What's our HUD number and all this? It's all there, but it's in the back, so it was getting obscured. Now it's front and center for you, and so let's talk about it a little bit. First off, you've got myself and Cindy right at the top. You can reach me there at that email and that phone number. Cindy Sullivan here, you've got her number and extension and email there as well, so you can reach out to us. I want to give you an additional email address I want to encourage you guys to write down. And that email address is fileaudit. fileaudit@ccpre.com. File audit is going to get you to an auditor. That has been my email address for a very long time. Here in November, we started off a new auditor, and so that email forwards to her. But if you ever get stuck on something, you're in SkySlope and you're halfway through and it won't do something, or whatever the case may be, or you just have a question in general, file audit. The gal that's connected with that email, her name is Allison. And Allison will be happy to help you too. She doesn't have tons of years in the business, so she won't be able to help with super complex disasters in real estate, but she can definitely help you with your paperwork and with your functionality with the systems and software platforms and all that. She's well acquainted. She's been with the company for a year, and she can help you guys get around some of this stuff. All right, company website dashboard. We've just talked about that. ccpre.com. Next thing I want to mention is the E&O insurance. You can't beat it. So we're all going to get billed in December for our E&O insurance for the 2015 calendar year. It'll be the $200, and they'll just shoot out an email to everybody. Keep your eye on that. On that note, I want to mention that every now and then we send out a blast email. Whether somebody on the staff, whether it's Dave Affman or Margaret or somebody, sends out a blast email to all the agents in the company. We do not do that capriciously. If we're sending out a blast, it's because we have to. Because every time we do, we get a ton of emails back and phone calls and all this kind of stuff we have to deal with. So we don't just do it any time. We only do it when it's important. So when you get emails from Cherry Creek Properties, like from the staff and all that, please read them in full very carefully. It might be that Dave Affman is talking about some technical weird contract real estate thing that happened. Just take an extra minute, read it through. There's all kinds of stuff going on, including attorneys in Colorado trying to overturn Conway Bogue right now. They're changing all of the annual commission updates in 2015. What the Real Estate Commission has to say about legal cannabis in Colorado and how it affects you as a broker. All kinds of stuff like that we're going to talk about when you see those emails come through. We have verbiage because the Real Estate Commission come down with a position about coming soon listings. So we have verbiage for that. If you would like to still do a coming soon listing, it can be done, but you'll need verbiage for it. So we got that for you. So that's why you want to pay attention to those emails. All kinds of key stuff there. So do you have a question? Okay. All right. Just as far as this building, our next item here, after hours, access to the main office. On the P2 level, which is not the lowest level, but it is the highest level, there are a couple of lock boxes. There's 3 lock boxes. We have the middle lock box, and the code is 407. In there is a little white credit card looking gadget and an actual key. The credit card gadget will get you in the door to the elevator there, and then you'll want to put that back in the box. The key will get you in the little glass doors in Suite 109 downstairs, so you can access the main office there, Suite 109, 24 hours a day. The lockbox stuff is all there. You may want to acquaint yourself with it if you can see that happening, or if you expect that might be something you would utilize. If you want to come in here every Saturday when it's quiet and get some work done, you can do that. I would just say get really well acquainted with how to access it now, while you don't have to, while it's normal business hours, you know. And to that end, I'm going to talk to you about the next one here, after hours access codes to the satellite offices. We have many satellite offices, and if you page through here, you'll find them. And we're opening more. We've got the Aurora office coming online. We've got a Lakewood office that may be changing and expanding because we're expanding over there a ton. All kinds of stuff. So be aware of that. But if there's satellite offices that you think you might use, maybe there's 2 or 3 of them even, just kind of from where you operate, I would encourage you to get in touch with the branch manager that operates that office. All of their names and phone numbers are in here. Go and check out the office, see it physically, see where the lockbox is, make sure that you got the code and that you successfully can open the box with it and stuff like that. There's very little support after hours to get into those places, so if you can see yourself using some of the satellite offices, get acquainted with them now. Get acquainted with the branch manager now, make sure you know how to access everything now, and also have the branch manager put you in the copier. The little copier scanner printer thing we have down there. We don't put anybody in there automatically, you have to ask. So if you guys want to be in this copier down here today, as soon as we're done with class, roll on down there and have the receptionist put you in, no problem. We'll put you in any copier anywhere you want, but we don't do it automatically. You got to speak up. So otherwise we'd have 1,000-something brokers in a lot of copiers. It would just be a lot of data to try and keep up with. Okay. So acquaint yourself with those. We have some really great branch managers and some really great satellite offices, so I would encourage you guys, if you can see yourself utilizing some of that, to reach out to those folks. They have training in some of their branches and stuff like that. There may be opportunities there, and that may be something that will help you without having to come all the way to the tech center all the time if you live further away. Copier code, the last 4 numbers of your social. Again, only upon request. I guess I just roll right into that. So just make sure that you're plugged in there, and they'll also associate your email with it. So like when I use that scanner down there, I can scan it, and it's already got my email plugged in. So I just scan it right there, and it just shows up in my email. It's back at my desk. So if you guys want that function there, you very well might. I would encourage you to do that. While we're on the subject of scanners, I'm going to talk about scanners and PDFs for a minute. I would encourage you guys to be really good at getting PDFs or creating PDFs. You guys are probably familiar with what a PDF is, yeah? A lot of what we're doing here in real estate in general involves generating PDFs. Now we all know that you can pull them out as CTM and upload them in the system and stuff like that. That's not too complex to do. There are a few more tricks. Like for instance, sometimes people upload their source of water addendum and it doesn't have the contract date in that first paragraph. That's extremely common. It's obscure, you overlook it, you forget or whatever, and then the auditor hits you back and says, oh, you're going to need to put a date in there, sorry. But you go back into CTM and you can't put the date in because it's locked, right? So there's ways to do that too. You can just actually open it as a PDF all by itself, and you can put in your own e-signature stuff right there and just resave it and upload it right there. There's all kinds of slick stuff you can do with PDF stuff. To that end, also, I don't know if, who here has a scanner and who doesn't, but I would encourage you to have a scanner. I bought a really nice one off Amazon for 120 bucks. It's got a feeder, it'll scan the long pages, it'll scan the regular ones, it's got a glass top if I need to put a book down on the thing or whatever. It's also a printer and a copier and stuff like that. So great machine, cheap, and I have known for a lot of years that PDFs are something that I'm going to need to be good with, and so I still sometimes see folks that have a struggle with it, and I don't want that struggle to be there. This job's already hard enough, let's get good at the PDFs. On CTM, when you use CTM, there's a little logo with a little Adobe thing on there. It says PDF print. That is the finished product all on there. So sometimes people will just copy right from the screen. They'll just almost screenshot it, or they'll get the print preview version or something like that, which is kind of works, and it's kind of a PDF, but it doesn't show signatures, so it still won't work. That kind of stuff there. So bear in mind with CTM, use the PDF print. Always look for the little Adobe logo because those are the finished product PDFs that you want. I would encourage you guys to get a scanner at home if it is at all possible. It will help you a lot. I get a lot of people that have a lot of complaints about, well, it just wasn't this or it's that. If the scanner would just solve your problem all day, you wouldn't even have to call me, you wouldn't have to mess with it. And I don't mind calling. You call me all you want to. I'll help you all I can. But wouldn't it be better if you can just solve your own problem out the door all day and not have to, your own frustration, even if it's just 10 minutes of frustration before you call and get help, let's skip that 10 minutes of frustration and just keep jamming our day, right? The other thing I want to tell you about PDFs is that there is an app out there called Cam Scanner. I want to encourage you guys all to have it. I'll bet you everybody in this room's got a smartphone. You go to your little app store on your smartphone and type in Cam Scanner, C-A-M Scanner. Cam Scanner is a free app that will take a picture of any document with your phone, put it on the table, zap, click, you've got yourself a picture of the document, and it converts it to PDF instantly. It can handle long pages, it can handle short pages, it can handle multiple pages. It will crop them automatically for you, it'll enhance them and lighten them so that everything's readable, and then it'll email it anywhere you want it to go. It's slick, it's PDFs all day. If you got your cell phone, you're covered all day long. I could upload an entire real estate file from the first document to the last with my phone, with no other tool but this. All the way into SkySlope. I can get into SkySlope from here, I can get the PDF from there, I can do the whole thing from there. And so if I can do that from my phone, this should be something that'd be really easy if you're using your computer, right? So I just want to encourage you guys there because I've seen folks get some frustration with it, and the PDF thing is not going away. I can't simplify it, I can't change it to make it any more efficient. So let's just be really good at PDFs and not have that be miserable. Okay. MLS broker office ID stuff. We don't use these a whole lot anymore, but if you're a member of the Board of Realtors and you're on the LLC side of the company, your broker ID is CC123. If you are a non-board member, your broker ID is CCP09. You will not hardly ever have to use that anymore. Next thing here is centralized showing service. I want to mention that to you guys. Centralized showing service, all of our showings occur through there. And as you're taking listings, that's going to happen for you automatically. Centralized is going to pick it up. You can go over there and plug it in there because they're going to need your seller's phone number and stuff like that. So you'll still want to, when you're putting a listing on the market, you'll want to go to showings.com and put your listing in there. Essentially, because you don't have any choice, that's pretty much something, it's an industry standard almost. Most folks in town are using a showing service like that. Cherry Creek property requires it. What I wanted to tell you about it is that there are certain situations where you do not need CSS. You do not need showing service at all, like land. There's no sellers to call, there's no showing to set for a piece of land. So, but if you list a piece of land, you will get automatically billed by CSS for your $30 per listing. They charge $30 a pop for the listing, no matter, even if you have it for a year and they set 300 showings on it, it's still the same $30. So it's the same for everyone like that, but if there's ever a listing where you are actually not going to need showing services at all, and that don't let it be because you just want to set the showings yourself. That's not going to work. You're still going to get billed and you're still going to want to use CSS, but for stuff like land and stuff like that, you don't need to be paying the $30. So contact CSS, or you can contact us here at the office and let us know, hey, this is a land listing, make sure CSS doesn't bill me. I'd probably go start with CSS. Also known as showings.com. Next thing here, HUD bids, HUDhomestore.com. Most of you guys are going to be familiar with that. We do have our NAIDs for the HUD Home Store. If you are a realtor, your LLC NAID is CHRRY0546. If you're a non-board member, it's CHRRY C7096. Those are zeros in there. So just bear that in mind. If you need to make HUD bids, you've got your code right there. All right, business cards. These are the places that we're most likely to use. We have Nate Designs. He's done some photography, a lot of photography for us, and has done some really nice photos for me here recently. He's made a lot of business cards for a lot of folks. He has all of our templates. He has all of our colors, and he's very much available as he's here with us in class today.
Thank you, good.
So I would encourage you to check with Nate if you want to see about business cards. We also have uniquelitho.com's got a few templates of ours, and so does Color Cards Direct, and they're all going to be around the same price you can expect for business cards in general. So I would encourage you to get some cards right away. Nate's got some neat variations. If you don't like the basic templates on the other guys or whatever, just check with him. Name badge here, next one. If you want to get a little name badge, I've got one downstairs and I forgot it, but you can order those from Crown Trophy, and they're like $12 or something, and you can just call that phone number there, and they've got all of our stuff there. They've got some basic ones. They've got a couple of different variations. They've got one with a little bling on it, if you want to get some, sparkle it up or whatever. And then the last thing here is signs. RMD Signs has been the company I'm most familiar with over the years, and you see them mentioned here. They have yard signs and all of our stuff there, and they can fix you right up. The other one I've heard lots and lots of good stuff about over the last year is S&G Signs, which is mentioned here. They are up in Arvada, and I've heard only good things about it. It should be great. I know there's a couple of other sign makers here in town and also nationally that you can call. We have these listed here on your quick reference information because these tend to be the most favorable as far as the experience you're going to have acquiring signs. If you want to go somewhere else, you can get signs any kind of place, but they might take longer, they might cost more, they might not be a good quality, whatever. But you're free to do that. Make sure you've got the right colors and everything. We do also have signs downstairs, but it's just a panel, the metal panel. So if you've got a bunch of yard signs from wherever you came from, and you don't want to just waste everything there, you can actually just buy the panels from us and just do little screws and switch out the panels, keep your frames. We've got different sizes and stuff like that, and if you get them downstairs, they can just put them on your credit card for you, and they're going to be cheaper because we buy them in big bundles, so we can just roll that straight over to you. Between the signs we have downstairs, any signs you might have from before, and these sign companies, they should be able to fix you up pretty well on making sure you've got your yard sign situation covered. All right, let's talk about a couple of other things here while we're on that tear. Next thing I want to tell you about is LinkedIn. You guys, probably most of you are familiar with LinkedIn.com. It's a professional social media site, I guess. At any rate, we have a group there. At LinkedIn, there's a Cherry Creek Properties group. First thing I would tell you guys is I'm of the opinion that everybody here should have a LinkedIn profile. Probably every real estate agent in the United States of America should have a LinkedIn profile. And one of the main reasons is because your clients will Google you a lot. That's happening a lot. And they're expecting to see your LinkedIn profile at this point, frankly. It's going to be weird if they can only find obscure stuff on you, that's not real estate related. So I would encourage you guys to, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, to make one, and then to make it robust. Because it shouldn't just be like this abandoned thing with no picture or whatever like that. That almost speaks worse of you to your client than not having a profile at all. One that's just completely abandoned and it's not active, because then it looks like you aren't active. So just like a little tiny company can look like a huge company if they have a slick site, you can add a lot of credibility to yourself if when you are Google searched, the search goes well. Right? So to that end, I would encourage you to do that there, and also you can look around and add some Cherry Creek Properties agents. So you can start with some of the folks that you can see in here. You can certainly add me and start endorsing people. Endorse them for this, endorse them for that, endorse them for everything you can think of, because they'll endorse you back. And now all of a sudden, maybe it's 10 or 12 people or 100, I don't care, whatever, but I would encourage you guys to cultivate some of that and make that so that you have a robust LinkedIn profile. Along with that, you'll want to go to your LinkedIn profile and search for the Cherry Creek Properties group. When you do that, you'll find them right away. It'll pop right up for you, and you'll hit join. You will not be able to join automatically. There's somebody on the staff that maintains that on this side, and so within a day or so, they're going to go and add you in. It's only for Cherry Creek Properties agents, but it is a huge resource, to the point that I would tell you that when you log into your dashboard every day, I would follow it right up by logging into your LinkedIn every day and go to the Cherry Creek Properties group and see what's going on. There's all kinds of activity. Hey, I need to hold an open house, who's got a listing? Or hey, I've got a listing if anybody wants to hold an open house. Or I need a handyman. Or what do you guys think about lease options? Or just, I just saw one in here the other day. This guy dug out his basement 2 feet deeper so he could have taller ceilings down there. Except now his basement's starting to leak. It's starting to seep water into his things. And who knows what to do about that? I don't. But if you have a problem like that, you'll have a resource where you can go and get some people's input. These agents aren't going to be experts either, but they might say, oh, I've heard of this before. I ran into that one time. Or I know an engineer guy that can help you or something, right? So I would really, really encourage you to have a robust LinkedIn profile and check the Cherry Creek Properties group every morning. It'll just take a minute. I mean, you might see a couple of new topics on any given day, but it's extremely active. We have a lot of our big hitters there. Get in there and participate. The other thing that I have seen is all kinds of other opportunities. I've seen agents say, hey, I'm just not really closing that much property. I'm just, kind of struggling or whatever. Is there anybody out there that's kind of running a team or putting together a team that I could kind of be a part of or whatever like that? And so he says, oh yeah, I'm actually putting together something right now. Let's get together, that kind of stuff. And so I have seen all kinds of things like that happen that just wouldn't have happened if you didn't log into your LinkedIn and you didn't log into your dashboard and you're sitting at home wondering what's going on and you feel abandoned by your brokerage. You're not abandoned, we're right here, right? Okay, I want to talk to you about the Mobility RE application. There is a website for it right here. This is something, there's also a tutorial right on the dashboard that I think I mentioned for you guys for this. This is the website related to your app for your phone. I would encourage you to really take some time and learn the app. Get the app on your own phone, learn how to use it, get with a partner, colleague or something, experiment sending it to each other. Get on the back end here and know how to do this and know how to change your settings because, for instance, with your settings, you may have it to where when your default settings, you're going to get notified a text every time somebody does something with your app. Well, what that means is if somebody gets on in the middle of the night and starts shopping around and using your app to go bouncing around, you wake up the next morning with 78 texts. So maybe you want to get into the backside right here and change your settings so that you only get it by email and it doesn't buzz your phone every single time. Or maybe you've got somebody that's so hot you actually want to switch it back and you want to get buzzed on every single one because these guys are active and you want to hear about it all. And you don't mind 78 texts. That's fine. Whatever it is, I would encourage you to get your text, get the app on your phone, get into the website right here and master it. Know it. I don't think that it would take you more than 30 minutes to get to a place of mastery with it. And this is a tremendous lead generation tool. If you were to go out on your own and get this app for yourself, it would cost you almost, I think, around $60 a month or something. At Cherry Creek, it will not cost you anything a month. Let's use the tool. And to that end, I'm going to mention some neat tricks that we have on different ways you can use this tool. We have sign writers. I don't know if I have any up here, but we've got some around the office. And it'll just say text this number to this number for price and photos and free MLS search. And put that on all of your yard signs. That way you can use it as a listing tool when you're telling Mr. Seller, listen, we don't have to keep flyers in the box anymore. We don't have to worry about teenagers taking all the flyers out of the box or getting them rained on or anything else. We don't have to worry about the buyer driving by and not feel like getting out of the car. They can get the whole scoop, the MLS printout on your property sitting in their car, especially handy in the wintertime. So isn't that great, Mr. Seller? We're going to capture a lot of the prospective buyers that would be interested in your property. For you, you're going to capture a lot of buyers. Anybody that is using your app, you're going to get notified of it. The only name and number that shows up on there on your app is yours. So, but it is essentially an IDX feed to the entire MLS. There's only a couple of key buttons on the thing. One of them is nearby. And this is a cool thing you can do for open houses is hit the nearby button and just show them, look, here's the 6 houses that are closest to us right now. And they'll show it here, because they're cruising the neighborhood, it's an open house or whatever, here's the next 6 closest. Get this app real quick so you can use the nearby button and you can cruise all these real quick. And then that way as they're using the app, you're capturing their information, you're capturing their activity, and hopefully able to follow up with them. So I would encourage you to do that there. I would encourage you to put your Mobility RE numbers. You guys already have an email signature, probably most of you. You got something, so-and-so, and here's your phone number, and maybe your website or some kind of a thing. Why not put, hey, text this to that for a free MLS search? And then start emailing everybody you know. And just say hello, and let your email signature speak to why you're emailing. You don't have to be aggressive about folks. I teach a lot on the Sphere stuff and everything in our lead generation class. If you guys want to check out more about that, we can get into it. You guys can use the Mobility RE app as much as you like. You can not use it at all if you don't want to. There's no mandatory anything there, but for goodness sakes, there it sure seems like an awfully good tool there that we should be utilizing. So we have the sign writers, we have the email signatures. You can also, if you're at an open house, one of the gals that works here, she'll go to the open house and she's got a flyer with the property stuff, like an MLS print one-page thing, but on the back is big text about text this number to that number for mobility, RE for this app, because it's really hard to retain leads sometimes at an open house. They don't want to fill out your sign-in thing, they don't really want to talk to you, and they definitely don't want to be giving you all their email and phone number and all that kind of stuff. It's really can be a tough stuff there, but they might be willing to take your app. And even if they don't want to be bothered or whatever, that could be the difference, and it could be the difference between whether or not you retain them or somebody else got them. So why not have that kind of thing in an open house? I don't even care about my card, just get the app. As long as I get the app, we're in business. Okay, so signs and sign writers we kind of talked about. Let's see. We have engaged some places for Office Evolution is what it's called, where it's kind of a shared office space, and we're getting some of that. We have some in Aurora, our stuff out by Denver West by the Colorado Mills Mall. We have a location there, and I know that there's one other that I'm not thinking of right now, and I think that there may be more of that as we go, because that'll open up more places that you can utilize. The neat thing about the Office Evolution is for you guys, if you feel like that would be something that you would utilize, you can, for $25 a month, you can get their little gadget card, the little white credit card looking thing, and you can use all of Office Evolution's sites as well, including downtown Denver, anywhere. So if you guys feel like you are going to be meeting people at different places around town, you're always on the go, officing from your car, stuff like that, might be worth spending $25 a month for Office Evolution, get the little magic card, find out where all their locations are, and expand your resources. Okay, another thing I wanted to mention, the verbiage for contracts. We have a lot of that stuff downstairs. So if you, like for instance, the other day we had somebody that they put the house on the market, and a contract came in right away, and it's wonderful, and we want to sign the deal and everything, but the sellers haven't had any time to go and find a replacement property. So the seller wants to put in a contingency so they can find a house in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and if they fail to find another house in the next few weeks, they can come back and kill the deal so they don't just sell themselves homeless. Well, that's no problem, right? That's pretty easy verbiage, except that it's actually kind of detailed. So we put it together, and it's a lengthy paragraph, but it covers all the angles and stuff, and we'd be thrilled to share it with you. So if you guys ever get stuck on something like that, bear in mind the fellow that we have down there, our head auditor and stuff, is Dave Affman. A lot of you guys have met him. He is the head of compliance. He is a teacher at Armbrust, and he is the managing broker of the Inc. side of the company. And he's also extremely helpful, and he loves to teach, so he won't just give you the answer to the question, he'll tell you why, if you want to know at least. He might tell you why, whether you want to hear about it or not, but one way or another, he's generally right. And so I would encourage you, he's got resources for you. Only thing is sometimes, after hours and stuff like that, he's generally not going to be available so much, so just pay attention to that. If you have a mentor, you can utilize them. They'll be more available for you. Also want to make you guys aware, we have a coaching program here as well. The fellow that heads it up, his name is Randy Verostek. If you are new to the company, or you're new to the state of Colorado or something like that, or your business just isn't where you'd like it to be, you want to do some business planning models and all that, he's got a master's degree and all this kind of stuff, and things that I don't. And he can teach on some of that there, and he can also help you guys get acquainted with some of our systems and all that. The neat thing with the coaching thing is the splits are a little bit more in your favor, so it's an 80-20 instead of a 70-30 like the mentor program. And also in the coaching thing, it's 80-20 on as many deals as you like. So if you just want coach on one deal just to help you figure out SkySlope and our system for a minute or something like that, you can bring him in on a deal, help you get acquainted, just take some of the anxiety out of it, and then after that you're on your own. If you want him to coach you on every deal you ever close here, you can do that too. There's no harm in that. So if you want somebody always kind of in your pocket that you can call and check with and stuff, we have that for you. And you guys can come see me afterwards if you need to, if you want to check out the coach thing. Okay, there's our LinkedIn stuff. I'm going to try and find our groups here. Let's see. Interests. Groups. There's our Cherry Creek Properties group right there. So here's what LinkedIn looks like if you haven't been there. That's what our group looks like. And when I click in here, here's our basement question. Let's just let things go a little faster. Give it just a second here. There it is. So here's your Cherokee Properties group. Loveland and Boulder Brokers, check out my new listing. Oh, good job, Brad. Anybody have a referral for an agent in Tulsa? You know, who knows? All kinds of obscure stuff that goes on, but this is a really active board and really worthwhile. So, open house opportunity in Colorado Springs if you want. Open house on my listing in Pinehurst. Another basement question. Highlands Ranch, all kinds of good stuff here. And it's not just, oh, hey, I have a new listing. It's not just that at all. There's tons and tons of stuff there, so check it out. All right, let's get into a few other things here. We're going to do SkySlope next. This is our file management system. I'm going to log out for a second and re-log in so you can see what it'll look like on your end, just briefly. And let's see. Okay, this is what your SkySlope page will look like when you first log in, just like that. This little thing here is a big home page button, so if you click on it, it'll take you back to your home page. A few things I want to tell you right off the bat. Good news with this system. They have 24/7 live support for all ages that are trying to figure out how to use this system. They are there for you 24 hours a day. Most of the time they're there for you on the phone. If you want to call them and talk to them and it's going to take you 45 minutes to figure it out, they will sit on the phone with you for 45 minutes. And I have heard nothing but good things about them. They're wonderful, they're sweet, they're helpful, and they will stay with you and help you get squared away. They'll do stuff for you if you really get messed up or you just got too far down the wrong road or something like that. They can fix stuff for you. If you create a duplicate file, which I'm going to show you how to not do in a minute, but then you're going to forget later this afternoon and create duplicate files anyway, it's all right. I won't take it personally. But when you create duplicate files anyway, we can help you here. Well, actually, I think they're going to roll out some new functionality, but until then, you can actually email SkySlope directly and ask them to merge it for you. Say, hey, I screwed up and created a duplicate. Can you merge those files together? You betcha. Usually they do it over the night. Apparently the night shift guy gets that job. But I want to show you a couple of things here real quick. This is what you're going to look like when you log into SkySlope. You should already have your logins from that as well, from joining the company, or if you haven't joined or just joined today, whatever. You'll get those very soon. If that truly passed you by, first of all, check your junk mail and spam and stuff like that. Your things may have ended up in there because they're auto-generated right from these places, and so they probably send out a lot of those, and so it very well could end up in your junk. Look for those emails for the Lone Wolf dashboard stuff and also for SkySlope if you haven't got your logins, and it seems like you should have. If you truly struck out, don't have your logins, let's go and see Shelly downstairs and make sure we get them. I think she'll just resend the email or regenerate the email to you, but that's how it goes. Okay, let's see. One of the things I want to show you, let's see what can I tell you here. When you first take a listing, you're going to go over here to create a listing. It'll first ask you for the address and you can put it in there because this is kind of a Google search thing, so it'll actually autofill a bunch of stuff there. It'll figure out what property you're talking about and it'll put in a bunch of stuff for you right up front. Everything here in red, you've got to fill it out. And if it's not in red, you don't have to fill it out. One of the things I want to tell you guys right here, though, is that there's certain stuff here, sometimes it'll ask you for it that people get stuck on, and I don't want you guys to get stuck on. If it asks you for a phone number for the buyer and you're the listing agent, you don't have the buyer's phone number? 303-555-5555. They'll go all day. The information that you put in here is largely for your own benefit, and it's not necessarily something that the staff uses. I think it's a good idea to have this be as accurate as possible. However, there's certain things like, for instance, this is going to ask me at some point. Right now, the MLS number is not asking me for it as a mandatory, but it will later. Well, what if it's a FSBO and it's not going to MLS? What if it's a new construction that's not going to MLS at all? Rather than sit home and be frustrated, like, what is the, what's the solution for that? The solution is 0000000. Enter. Fine. There's no MLS number, it's fine. Don't get hung up by that stuff there, you guys. If there's something you get stuck on, try some kind of generic thing there to slam dunk and get past it, and you can come fill it out later, and you can straighten it out later. If you want to get it right and you're not sure and you don't want to put in some other info, you can get on there and call SkySlope right away, and I'm going to take you right to how to do that right now. Right up here in the top corner, and this will always be here, is the little support link. When you click the support link, it will take you to this wonderful, happy place, the big blue button. They will start a chat with you. You can IM with them 24 hours a day. You can call them, you can email them, and word is that they really will order you a pizza. I think they will. Right up here is the phone number. I'm going to give it to you because I can't read that. Probably you guys can't either. The phone number for SkySlope. This platform is called SkySlope. The phone number is 916-560-1815. When you're on your computer and you see that, it'll be legible and you'll have no trouble with it. So by all means, call them all you want. There is no limit. There's no max out thing there. If you need to spend 8 hours a day talking to them, you can do that. But seriously, if you guys spend 10 minutes a year, you'll figure it out really quick. It's a really slick software, and it has some neat tricks. In addition to the phone number right here and the fact that you can IM with them and email them from here and you can call them and so forth, right here are the video tutorials. These are 30 to 60 seconds long. They're slam bam. There's nothing to them, and these will solve your problems. These are the answers to your questions, for real. And then right next to it there is the SkySlope manual. You want the whole manual, you want to figure out this platform inside and out, stuff like that, there's a manual right there for you. So between the phone number and the live support and the video tutorials and the manual, you will have this thing figured out right quick. If you hate this stuff and want nothing to do with it, we can recommend a good transaction coordinator for you. We work with a lot of them in auditing, and if you just don't, this is not your cup of tea, we can refer you to some folks that are well acquainted with our system and can do this for you for a small fee. So not a problem. Okay. A couple of other things I want to show you on SkySlope. I'm going to go back home here. When you build a listing, it's going to ask you for the seller's information and who's the title company going to be, and who are you, and how much is the commission, and when does the list date start, and when does it end, a few things like that. And then it'll roll you over to checklist. And it's going to show some stuff that's required. Listing agreement, MLS thing, source of water, square footage disclosure, lead-based paint, that kind of stuff. It may be when you're loading your initial listing documents that there's something that it's asking you for that's required that you don't have. Maybe it's asking for the source of water and you got a seller's property disclosure with the source of water in it, but you don't have an actual source of water. First of all, just upload that into the slot. We'll take it. But what I'm getting at is, if there is something where you're stuck, you're uploading your initial stuff there, and there's something you just don't have initially, upload a dummy document. Create a one-page Word document that says nothing, or says blank, or I don't care what, and save it as a PDF and upload that. Because the reason I say that is, once you have created your listing here, now hopefully your listing sells quickly, and you're under contract now with a closing date. Congratulations, you're under contract. What a lot of folks do is they'll say, great, I got to come over here and create a transaction. I got a transaction now. And that's where you get messed up with your duplicate files that you guys are all going to not do, right? Okay, so what you want to do instead, on the listing side, you've created the listing now. What we want to do, and hopefully you've uploaded your initial stuff, your listing agreement, and your initial paperwork. Now that we're under contract, we're going to roll it over to a full under contract file. So what we want to do is go over here to Manage Listings. We've created the listing now. Now we want to go over here and manage it. And this agent does not have any listings to manage at the moment. But if you had a listing here that you have just created, you would find it right here. And so you would click it one time and it'll highlight it. You go up here to Accepted Contract. Because now we're taking that listing that you've already put in, and now it's an accepted contract. So when you click on the listing that's just gone under and you hit Accepted Contract, it'll ask you for some new information. Oh, who's the buyer? Who's the buyer agent? Who's the new lender? You know, just a few things like that, not a big deal. And it'll roll over to a new checklist that will have all of the new slots that you're going to need, like here's where to upload your contract, here's where to upload your counter proposal, and all that kind of stuff. And at the very bottom will be those initial documents that you uploaded at the beginning. So it's all in one happy place for everybody. That's the way that you want it to go. Like I say, if you just blow that or whatever, we'll still straighten it out for you. They're also rolling out a huge new functionality this month that's going to do a bunch more stuff. So if you get all acquainted with it or whatever, you may be getting acquainted with it again really soon. But I think it's just going to get that much better, and I think that the changes are going to be really easy. So I'm going to take you into a deal so that I can show you a few things. Oh, I think I want to show you something else real quick. Okay. Also, if you have a deal that's closed and you've uploaded all your final stuff and the auditors have approved everything and they've archived it, you can still find it right here. There's your archives. If you had some files that's half baked and went and it crashed and burned and didn't fly and everything, and you built half of it in here and it died or whatever, this is where you'll find it and you cancel contracts. Sometimes we're a month or two out between when you close the deal and when we actually get it into the archives, because we just have an enormous amount of volume, but I think we'll be caught up on that here this winter, so that hopefully within a week or two of closing, the file will just roll over to archives automatically if you have uploaded all your stuff you're supposed to. If not, you'll be hearing from us saying, please upload this or that so that we can archive your file. And we can email you guys right out of the system, so it's really slick. Okay, and then if you were building a listing halfway through and then you had to run out or whatever, here's your incomplete stuff right here. And then here's your pending transaction. So once again, just experiment, fiddle with it, poke around. It'll be very obvious, very easy. This is a slick system. And then you got all the support and everything, so you guys should have some fun with this. I'm going to show you a couple of tricks, and I want to talk to you guys about a couple of documents, because I want to help you guys pass audit. We want everybody to have an audit before you go to closing, so that if there's anything deficient anywhere, missing something or whatever, you overlooked it, or just was an obscure thing, whatever, that you're able to know that before you go to closing, so you can get things at closing. They're nearly impossible to get after closing. And even if you can totally get them, it's still miserable and maybe even embarrassing. We don't want to have to fool with that. We want clean files before closing. We also want you to get paid at closing. Now, if you're a mentee and you're going to have your first 4 deals on the split, you will not get paid at closing on your first 4. Those checks are all coming back here, and that's just how it is. But after that there, you'll get paid at closing. We want you guys to get paid at closing as much as possible. We don't want the checks coming back here. You don't want the checks coming back here. I'm going to help you keep the checks straight in your pocket. Okay. So this is what my stuff looks like here. This is my admin stuff, and here's my archives and everything. Let's see if I can find a nice transaction. Alright, I just want to show you guys a file here real quick so you can get an idea what this looks like. And this guy will be a good example. So when I click into the file, this is the first thing it shows me. It shows me all the data here, and you've got your MLS number and all your red stuff and all that. And up here are your tabs of what's going on here, and this is important for you guys. So this is just your basic transaction knowledge right here, basic info. Here's your contacts, who's who in the game. If you use 555 for everybody's phone numbers, this place won't do you much good. Commissions here, you can put in what the commissions are. If it's asking you for the other side and you don't know the other side, you can put 0, you can put 1, just put something. Like I said, we're not tracking, we're not using this to track. But then your next spot here is your checklist, and this is your important place where all your stuff goes. And look, there they are. This is a nice clean file, lots of green rectangles all over it. Good stuff. Rolling down here. Oh, my goodness, what you got here? This thing's ready for archive. Everything's good here. I'm going to have to look at these 2 documents real quick, and then he's ready to go. He's green all the way across, right? So some of the stuff here, this first one here is for compliance notes. So auditors will leave notes for each other. You can leave notes for the auditor. You can leave notes in any of these slots. This right here, if you can't see them here, you got your contract to buy and sell, your counter proposal, amend extends, inspection objection, inspection resolution, and things like that. And you can leave a note in any of these slots. Just click in it, type what you got to say, and hit save. Because the auditors will interact with you as you go. So if there's a snarl or something you're not sure about, next week you're working on a deal and you can't remember if Sam said you need a mold disclosure or not, you can go to the mold disclosure slot and be like, I don't remember, what am I supposed to do with this mold thing, I forget. And the auditor will come back and say, here's what you need to do, no problem. So we can communicate there all day long. Here's what I will tell you to make all that really work well and keep the drama out of the equation, is to upload everything and build your files as early on as possible. If you are building the file and the closing's tomorrow, you have a problem. Problem number 1 is that our company policy is that you upload all documents within 72 hours of when they are signed. I know that's not always realistic, it's just not always realistic. I know it, and I know it doesn't always get followed. But we need to follow that as closely as we can. If you got the document and you got the minute, let's get it going, right? One of the things is that the auditors, there's auditing cycles that will occur. Since you guys are new, I'll just throw them out there. About 10 days before closing, you're going to get your first. About 10 days before closing, you'll get your first audit, and that'll be somebody coming in checking out your disclosures, square footage, mold, seller's property disclosure, things like that, making sure that they're good and signing off on it. So they'll check out most of the secondary docs. About a week before closing, Dave Appin will be in there checking your contracts. He'll look at your contract, your listing, your amend extends, your counter, a few things like that, and then he will send you an email, let you know, congratulations, you're ready for closing, your CDA will be there. Or congratulations, you're close to being ready to closing and you still need this or that in order to get ready. So he'll send you an email to that effect. If you get an email like that that says that, hey, you're in your last week before closing, you're in great shape, just need this or that item or whatever, you'll want to take care of those items or leave a note in here what your plan is. Like, hey, I'll get these at closing. I can't get a hold of the guy, he's out of town this week, but I'll get all the signatures at closing. Great. Leave a note right in there. The auditor will say, okay, great, they got a plan for it. What we need to do as auditors is make sure we don't send out the CDA and then end up with a half-baked file that you refuse to finish. So as long as we know we got a plan, we're all on the same page and stuff like that, auditors will get to know you. We know who are difficult people that aren't good at consistently doing this right. And we know the people that are very good at it that we can count on. So we hope that you'll be one of those. So I want to talk to you about a couple of these documents here real quick, just as a general policy thing. And once again, the new guys, if you forget some of this, your mentor knows all this stuff here again. All right, contract to buy and sell. There's a few things in there. One of the things that I would tell you guys with respect to this is when in doubt, fill it out. For instance, in section 15 of the contract, there's tons of boxes to check. The whole section is boxes, boxes, boxes. Who's going to pay for this? Buyer, seller, half and half, none. Who's going to pay for that? Buyer, seller, half and half, none. And it's very common for agents to leave a lot of that blank, just let it blank. There's no HOA, there's no sales tax, whatever. But leaving it blank's no good. So check the none boxes. Just fill it out, right? Check the none. If it's none, check none. No problem. There's a few other things there. I just want to touch on a few common things there. On the contract, try and make it as clean as you can. Here's one other thing that happens a lot. You can't believe how much this happens. In the very beginning of the contract, in section 2.2, is the assignability clause. This contract is or it is not assignable to some other buyer without the seller's approval. And nobody checks a box. More than half the contracts I see come through don't have that box checked, and I can't believe it. Can't believe it. But it happens. So, if this thing would just open for me, I'd be able to show it to you. If not, then we're going to skip it and not spend time on it. But at any rate, the contract to buy and sell, watch out for that kind of stuff. Audit yourself as much as you can. I would encourage you, the auditors are there to protect your license. They're here to protect the brokerage, but they're also here to protect you and your license against lawsuits and stuff. And if something does come down, or maybe the other guy's misbehaving, you've got to call the real estate commission, some horrible thing the other guy's done, your paperwork better be perfect too, because they're going to look at the whole file. They're going to look at everything from everybody, and if you've done something wrong, they might drop something on your head too. Because they'll just do whatever they want to at that point. You know, everybody's in trouble that's got a problem in the file at that point once they've cracked it open. We're going to keep you guys as clean as we can. All right, a few other things. Counter proposals go here. I'm not sure why I have another counter proposal blank. There should really only be one. Amend extends can go here. There's also a spot down here for additional documents. If you've got 5 amend extends, great, put some down here. If you need to upload 2 documents to the same slot, you can do that. It's not a problem at all. Inspection objection is going to go here, and so I want to talk to you guys about inspection stuff real quick. If you have your normal inspection paperwork, great, you got a spot for it right here. Inspection objection, inspection resolution, easy. It's very common, especially in this market right now, for people not to have those documents because they're as is for whatever reason, it's bank owned, or one way or another, there were no objections. If that is the case, Cherry Creek Properties is going to be looking for some kind of a waiver. When we ask for that, it's not going to work for you to come back and say, hey, we didn't have any objections. We know that already, or we've assumed that, but we really do want a waiver. The waiver is there to protect you because on a regular basis we have people, members of the public, stroll in here trying to get a pound of flesh from one of our brokers to write a check for some problem that they found after they bought and moved in. If we have a waiver here that says that the buyer is satisfied with the condition of the property, then the buyer really doesn't have any grounds to ask anybody to write the checks. If we have no paperwork, however, you can do that. Real Estate Commission doesn't require it. If there's no inspection paperwork, then there just isn't any. But then how do we know that we didn't neglect the buyer? How do we know that the buyer was even told that they could have an inspection? Right? That kind of stuff. So by having this waiver will prevent the appearance of neglect. And so here it is. This waiver can be anything. There's no official waiver form, nothing like that. This can be anything. And here's a few examples. You can write an inspection objection form that says, buyer has no objections. Get the buyer to sign it, upload it as your waiver, and you're done. Easy, right? That way the buyer has nothing to say later, for goodness sakes. Or you can have the buyer sign the bottom part of the inspection objection to withdraw their objections. You can do that too. I will take one. You can have an inspection resolution form that says, buyer has no objections, or any verbiage you like to that effect. and have the buyer sign. I don't need seller signatures. This is about the buyer waiving, okay? So I don't need seller signatures on it. If you do use an inspection resolution, you can get buyer and seller signatures on it too, that's fine too. But this is all about an affirmative statement from the buyer that they're satisfied with the condition and have no objections. If, let's say you're the listing agent, you don't have the buyer, you got the seller, and they have hit you with no documents, and you know the auditors are going to ask you for something. You can email the other agent and say, hey, do you guys have any objections, inspection objections? Email, the guy replies back an email, no, we don't have any objections. Remember I told you last Thursday? Great. Print that email, upload it. We're good, we're done. I'll take it on a napkin, for goodness sakes, if you can figure out how to put that in a PDF. I'll bet you can with the CAM scanner thing, right? So let's do that. Let's have an inspection waiver, and please don't come back and say, well, geez, there wasn't any inspection docs. Yeah, we know, we still want a thing. We still want something there. And this will protect you guys, and I'll tell you, every few months somebody strolls in here looking with their hand out, looking for a check. This guy that mentioned the snakes in the basement thing, $130,000 problem. And I will tell you what, because they did the seller's property disclosure correctly, that's how that they were able to keep clean. They were coming after our broker for $130,000. And because his paperwork was clean as a whistle, he walked. It's somebody else's problem. And that's what we want. We don't want the brokers to have a problem, and we don't want everybody in the brokerage to have a problem. We want you guys to be the aces. You guys are the ones that didn't have a problem. If there's somebody out there not doing it right and going to stumble around or get messed up, it's not you. Because you're here at Cherry Creek, where we're going to make sure, we're going to go hand in hand and make sure you guys are squared away and you are the most professional brokers in the business. Okay, some other fun stuff here. Let's move along. Source of water addendum. You guys may know this, source of water. We have to have a source of water on all deals except for land. It's in my opinion, I think we should have them on land too. If you're doing a land deal, I would encourage you to get a source of water, because what if your buyer buys it, or what if the buyer buys it, and he goes and takes possession and says, well, wait a minute, I thought there was a well on here. You guys didn't tell me anything. Well, we don't have a source of water addendum? Wouldn't it be good to have, just because the source of water has got option 3, there is nothing. There is no source of water. Check it, man, get the buyer to sign it, or else sometimes, what if you get an angry phone call? That could be a $50,000 problem. You might be buying the land back or something, you know, those kind of things. Or it might be your E&O insurance, you know, paying them off or whatever, but that's a problem too. So source of water, let's always use one. If you have source of water information in your seller's prop, that's all I need. If you don't have a seller's prop, or you have a seller's prop and there's no source of water information in it, we definitely need the source of water addendum. What I will tell you about the source of water addendum is that in the first paragraph, there's a spot for the contract date. Nobody ever puts it in. The auditors will jam you every time and make you put in the contract date. So check that document. If it's not there and CTM's locked you out, first of all, there's a way. If you want to get with CTM and figure that out, there's a way to kind of unlock it and redo it and put the date in. And if you just can't do that, there's a lot of different ways to do it. If nothing else, you could take that to closing and say, listen, I'll just get that at closing. Write the dates in by hand, pass it around the closing table, zap with your CAM scanner, you're done, right? There's lots of ways to solve those kind of problems. Earnest money, receipt, and check, we really do want those things. It's not a requirement of mine, but it is a requirement of Cherry Creek Properties. We want the actual earnest money receipt and a copy of the check. Not just the receipt and not just the copy of the check. It's very common these days to have a wire, for them to wire the earnest money. Great, no problem. The title company will have no problem producing a little wire receipt for you. We'll take it, upload it, you're good. And we don't have to, the purpose of it is, if you get Dave Affman's notes, is he'll tell you that the buyer should know in real time exactly who and where has his earnest money. Exactly. That's what the commission intends with that form. So if the buyer has wired their money to a title company, I think we're good there, right? So get the wire receipt and you're done. Okay, MLS printout, sometimes they're not in there, put a note. Hey, this is not an MLS. Fine, we'll get in there later and we'll unclick it so you don't even have to put something there anymore. I'll make it look like one of these down here where you don't need anything. It says if applicable. Title commitment, easy, right? Other obscure documents here if you need them. If there's a change of status with your broker, if there is a power of attorney going on, and also notice to terminate. If you're building this file and it kills, dies, somewhere in there, you probably have a notice to terminate and an earnest money release of some kind. Go ahead and upload all that stuff right in here. Almost anywhere you want to. Put in a big note right here, termination notice, because that really helps the auditors. Don't make us audit the whole thing and then the last document, oh, that deal died 2 weeks ago. I just wasted 20 minutes auditing your file. When I could have been sending your CDA on your other file, you know? Please try and get the signature, and at the very least, at least the buyer's signature, because it's for the benefit of the buyer. You know, we're disclosing to the buyer they're buying a house that is an unknown quantity. Okay, square footage disclosure, that's a pretty easy deal. With square footage, I will tell you that you actually have to put a square footage number in there. You can't just fill it out like they haven't done this and they haven't done that either and we're signing it, but there's no actual square footage number. that is not going to fly in audit day. So pull a number out of your hat that's as accurate as you can get and put it in there. And just, you can even, if you've got to put a note, hey, I'm really not sure about this, you can do that, but we're going to have to put something in. Hopefully it won't be a big deal. Lead-based paint disclosure, it's either perfect or it's garbage. Hopefully you guys are clued into that as real estate brokers. Lead-based paints have to be perfect. Because even if there's the slightest thing wrong, you can get hit with $16,000 fines from the EPA. And if the EPA decides they're underfunded, they'd like to go ahead and fund themselves a little bit better. Government didn't give them as much money in Congress this year. They want to go out hunting for people. They'll fill their coffers right quick, because there's a lot of lead-based paints floating around that are deficient. So I want to talk about just a few things. Lead-based paint. Did you know lead-based paints are supposed to be signed before the buyers sign the offer? That's rare. It's rare. Very, very rarely do we actually do it that way. One thing is, if nothing else, that when the feds come to look at your file, they ding you for $16,000. Hopefully the lead-based paint agreement is at least dated the same day as the offer that the buyers made. That would really be useful as well. That would be the ideal. If there's something less than that, you got a problem. Problem number one is that your contract's void. If you are supposed to have a lead-based paint disclosure in your file and you don't, the contract to buy and sell says that your contract is void without it. So you have gone and told your client that he has a deal. But he doesn't if he doesn't have his lead-based paint and you have neglected the thing. So what I want to tell you is, be aggressive about your lead-based paints. Make them perfect, make them timely and all that kind of stuff. Oh, come on out this way, it's all right. So just make them perfect, make them timely, get them done right away. I will tell you, if you're the listing agent, I've heard a thing where the listing agent sent over the lead-based paint to the buyer agent. And he said, where's my lead-based paint? The buyer agent just can't get it together and get it back over to lead-based paint. And it was like really a problem. I'm like, how can that even be? But you know, there's a lot of brokers out there that are doing whatever. One thing you can do as a listing agent is tell them that I will present your offer as soon as I receive back from you this lead-based paint disclosure. Send it to them. Say, I'll be happy to present as soon as I get this back from you. Then that way you can ensure compliance that way. Lead-based paint stuff, I hate the rules. It's a little bitty form, whatever, but these are the rules, and this is how we're going to handle it. Next slot here, lead-based paint pamphlet to the buyer. That is the little acknowledgement thing that I mentioned. It's in CTM. It's in a line all by itself in CTM. It's also on the dashboard. It's a super simple form, and you can actually find it by Googling it too. We don't want the pamphlet right there. We want the pamphlet acknowledgement, just a little thing that the buyer signs saying that they got it. If you just can't get it for some reason, like you're the listing agent and they're just stonewalling you, not providing it for you, leave notes. Just put a note. This guy just will not get back to me. I sent it to him 3 times, whatever. That's all we can do, right? So just leave a note there, and then the auditors will work with you as much as we can. Remember, we want you to have your CDAs. We want to approve these documents. We don't want to keep coming back in here. Nobody wants it. So with property disclosure, easy enough. Don't fill out your seller's prop for your sellers. Have your sellers fill it out. Home inspection report, if you want to upload a copy of the inspection report, you certainly can. And there's other stuff here too. So use these other slots. If you've just got some referral office thing there and you need to upload some documents, you can just go ahead and upload it in that slot. If you're not using it for something else, just use it however you need to. And then also here, your closing docs, your commission disbursement authorization will go here, and we're going to get into that in just a minute. Copy of the commission checks. We really do want to see copies of the checks. Now, most of the time, you guys are going to get paid at closing, and they have the Cherry Creek Properties check they just sent off to us, and you go home with your check and you go off to the bank. Before you do that, zap it real quick, please, because this is a slot for it. The reason that this matters is that we use our commission disbursement authorization to inform the IRS. We use that as our IRS reporting for you and your income, as far as our accounting purposes. But sometimes the CDA and what actually happened at closing are 2 different numbers. And that means we are either over-reporting your income to the IRS or we are under-reporting it, and both of those things are problems. The way we can make sure that neither one of those things is happening is if you upload a copy of the check. And I'm telling you, I've had people who say, I don't know, I just didn't get the check. Or I already put it in the bank. Oh, also we'll take stubs. Okay, if you forgot, you deposited your check, and that night, middle of the night, oh my gosh, I didn't get a PDF for the thing. Great, get your stub, zap it, you're good. We'll take a stub. Buyer settlement statement, seller settlement, HUD for closing, closing instructions. Let's talk about closing instructions real quick. Closing instructions as of January of 2013, you no longer need closing instructions before closing per the Real Estate Commission. The only reason they still exist is because the Division of Insurance requires it from title companies. Now, if you would like to prepare your title, your closing instructions right up front, right at the beginning, you sure can. And you can upload them there, it's great. Lister prepared closing instructions are notoriously deficient. It's missing the contract date in the first paragraph, like the source of water. It's missing the title company signatures. It's missing this, it's missing that. They're notorious. It is the worst document we have in auditing. To that end, I would encourage you guys just to upload the closing instructions that you receive at closing. Because if you don't prepare any ahead of time there, they will occur at closing. And then those copies will be notoriously correct. You can upload that with your closing package and you're good. Yes, sir?
Can you upload the original contract closings documents and then also the one from the title company, the same thing, or it has to be done separately?
You can upload both, sure.
Both.
Yeah, if you want to do the ones before and you get the ones at closing, you want to put them both in that slot? Absolutely. Yep. And then any additional closing documents, sometimes, there's like, if you got that whole bundle, the deed and the deck page and all that kind of stuff there, you can just put that whole bundle there. And to that end, I'm going to talk to you guys about something else, and this is really slick too. You guys are going to dig this. Every time you create a file in SkySlope, it will create an email for you, and that's right here. This is the email address for this file. So, for instance, let's say you're at a closing, and it's all wrapping up, and we're all shaking hands, and everything's wrapped up. You can give that email address to the closer and say, please email the closing package to that email address. When they do, the PDF that's attached to the email will actually show up in SkySlope automatically. It'll capture the PDF on it. It's slick. It'll cut you right out of the process. Right from the title company to the auditor archiving you, you didn't even have to come in here and finish up. So that's kind of slick, and I'm going to show you that here. We talked about these tabs across here, and this is our checklist here. This is where you spend most of your time once you've kind of built in who's who. But the next one here is your Documents tab, and this is worth taking just a minute on. We're almost done, guys, so bear with me. I just got one more thing after this, and then we will be done. And I wish this would load just a bit faster. In your Documents tab, this is everything that's ever been uploaded into this file. There's a couple of neat tricks here that I want to show you guys that will really help you. Number one, if you upload some file and it's got some funky name, 0274 or whatever, you can come over here and hit this button to rename it. You say, oh, that's the buyer agency. Buyer agency. So it takes confusion out. If you want to keep track of these documents, or let's say you know that this one right here is a seller's prop, and you want to upload that into the source of water slot. You can do that. You can just rename it. Okay, I know that's the seller's prop now, and so now I know how to go split it. So I'll show you how to do that here in a second. But there's a lot of ways to make that work. So a couple things here. If you have a title company or anybody email to that email address that I showed you up here with the PDF attachment, that PDF will show up here. This is where it goes. It's in your document spot there. You can also upload stuff yourself. It might be that they just emailed the whole closing package to you. Well, you only need about the first 10 or 11 pages, but it's probably about 30 or 40 pages long. So what you can do is you can go ahead and upload the whole thing right here, and you just use this little button right here, Upload Document. You go and browse find the file and upload it and everything. It's easy enough. And it'll show up right here. And then what you can do from there is you can split. Let's see if you split these out. Let's see if I can show you. I don't know. I can't find the right contract. Okay. So this one right here, this is a contract to buy and sell, and I'm going to pretend that that is my closing package. This button right here says split. So let's say this is my closing package. I'm going to click the split button, and it'll open up that document. And here we are, and it's going to give you a little thing right here too once it gets a chance to get a good look at it. So let's say my first 3 pages of this thing is the HUD. This is my closing package here. I'm going to type in HUD. Oh, yeah, that's the slot that I want it to go to, the HUD from closing, right? And that's page 1 to page 3. And you know, because when you're scrolling down here, as you're scrolling through these pages, it shows you what page you're on. So you know page 1 through 3 is this. Now when we get on page 4, oh, that's my buyer settlement sheet. So I can buyer. Yep, that's the one I want. So I would hit that one, and I go page 4 and 5, because that's 2 pages. And then on page 6 is where it starts the next thing. So I can go, let's say this is closing instructions. Closing instructions, I can hit that one. That is pages 6, 7, and 8. Okay, you get the idea, right? Once you've got all these assigned the way that you want them, you hit this one button, split and assign, boom, done. They're all in the slots. It's slick, it's really cool. So you don't have to go and print them separately and scan them or all this kind of stuff there, you just go right to it. So I wanted to show you that stuff because there's lots of neat tricks in here. Check out the training people, do the 24/7 live support, get good at this stuff here. And if this is really not your cup of tea, we've got transaction coordinators we can recommend for you. So every now and then I run into somebody that just is not very good with the tech stuff and they don't want to mess with it. So we got answers for you guys too. One last thing that I want to work on with you guys is the CDA. It's a really simple form. Here it is. Let me see if I can move it over. Okay. See it a little better. You guys still see it okay? Yeah? Okay. All right. This is the CDA. This is the thing that you'll fill out and upload into that slot, hopefully very early on in the process, because it's really nuts. When we go and complete a whole file, it's all good. It's all ready. We're ready to send the CDA, but there isn't one. Upload your CDA, right? If you want to, you can hold off on that a little bit, because sometimes the purchase price might change. And because you have an inspection, you got to change the purchase price by $2,000 to resolve inspection issues. Well, now that's going to change your CDA numbers. So yeah, you may want to wait on that, or at the very least, leave notes. Hey, this note here at the end here, that third version, that's the right one. Just let us know. We'll get it right.
So when you were talking about our income, that would be a variance, it's because it wasn't changed in here from the time the actual deal finally closed versus when we started the deal. In other words, if there's an amend, extend, or
Right.
counter proposal, we got to make sure it hits that thing prior to closing.
Right. And ultimately, the CDA needs to be accurate with what's actually happening at closing. So if things have adjusted along the way, CDA's got to adjust too. We, as auditors, we don't love sending the same CDA over and over again with slight math adjustments. We don't love it. We will do it, but try and keep that to a minimum for yourself and for everybody else. What if the guy that's supposed to be signing your CDA is actually in here teaching class right now and can't take care of your stuff, and your closing's at 11, 40 minutes ago? You know, so that's why we want to be on top of it ahead of time. I don't want you guys to have that where you're like, these guys aren't helping me, where's my support, where's my CDA, stuff like that. Let's work on that yesterday, so we don't have this today.
So the best thing to do is to have the CDA done and completed as closing documents state 72 hours before closing. Would be the best.
Actually, I would say you would want to try and get that CDA in at least 7 days before closing.
7.
If not even 10 days, because that's when your first audit will happen. So if you can get it in then when you're within 10 days of closing, you can feel pretty confident that you're on the home stretch now, and hopefully the numbers are going to stay the same. Probably not necessarily. They can still change at the last minute, certainly, but hopefully at least by then you're close. So we won't have to adjust it more than once or twice. This is the CDA form. Let's get right into it. Title company right here. That's easy enough, right? We know who the title company is, we know who the closer is, and we know who the closer's email is. That's super important, because that's how we send the thing to closing. Really need the title company's email specifically for that closer. And also, if you got to handwrite it, please write it really careful. Email addresses are easy to mess up, and then the lady doesn't get her CDA, and then you guys are upset or stuff like that. So let's make that nice and clean right there. And this closing date's important. You can put their fax and phone number for the closer at the title company too, if you like. We don't really use that information, but the email we sure do. Agent name, that's you. Agent name, agent email, easy enough, right? You know your name, you know your email. I know I don't need your phone number. I really don't. Okay, agent working with seller, buyer, or both. That's kind of how this thing here is set up. There's a little bit of ambiguity here, and so what I would encourage you right here is to just make notes once again. If there's something weird on your file, if you can just fill this out, boom, 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 standard slam dunk deal, that's great, and that's most of them. But every now and then, if there's something weird, just go ahead and put a note on the side, or put something in there like that. We'll see it. We'll catch it. And also, if you put it in that slot next to the CDA where you upload it. Okay, so you're working with the seller, you're working with the buyer. In this case, what I generally do is I'll come up here to this bar up here where you can actually adjust the darn thing. Let's say I'm working with the seller, I'll just back out everything else. Seller, or buyer, whatever like that. That's usually how I deal with that line. We do have this in a PDF too, so, and I know we have a writable PDF as well. So that file audit thing there, you can email them and ask them for a writable PDF. The problem is you can't save it, so you still got to print it and capture it some other way, unless you have paid for the Adobe software, which I haven't. Okay, so client name, you know your client's name hopefully at this point. This is just for your side of things. We don't care about the other guy and his client and his money, the other agent. This is just about you and your client. So you got your client name and the property address. That's the property address you're closing on, not where the buyers currently live. Okay? We don't need the buyer's current address. We need the property that we're closing on and doing all these numbers. Purchase price, that's kind of a slam dunk. I want to tell you right there that purchase price, anybody knows that. A lot of times though, you get like a builder, you got the base price that they pay on, and then you got the final price. It's much different. Just go ahead and put the actual purchase price. If you have if your commission is truly based as a percentage off of the full purchase price, you can just go ahead and put it here. A lot of times it's going to be 2.8 or whatever it is. If there's something strange or it deviates because you're taking a flat fee, or there's not a correct percentage because it's the builder thing where they paid you on the base and the purchase price is different than the base price, all that kind of stuff, then you can just put in here, what the heck did I just do? Don't forget your happy little undo button. Right down here. I don't know. Do I want to save that? Definitely not. Let's just reopen it here. Okay. Okay, purchase price, easy enough. Commission here, if you got a true percentage, put it in. If you don't, you can put flat. I'm taking a $1,000 flat fee because it's my mom. It's a flat amount of, $8,000 because that's how it works out at the builder, even though the purchase price is different. Whatever. You just put it flat. Just like I said, just communicate with us. We'll be fine. Commission total. This is how much the total commission is. This is additional income. Any other monies you collected from your client. Did you charge them an additional fee of some kind? Did you charge them a $199 fee extra to the buyer or seller? Did you charge them a $395 fee because you're worth it? Any additional money that you collected, this would be the place to put it. This one right here is a Scrivener fee, so you would back out $5 if you're the listing agent. If you're the listing agent, they always ding you for the $5 for the Scrivener. Go ahead and put it in there. So you've got your commission total, plus additional monies, minus your $5, if applicable, equals your total. That's how much we're dealing with. And then this is who gets what. Okay, payees. Payee number one, Cherry Creek Properties, put in your transaction fee. If you are a mentor and you're going to go through the mentor program and all that, have your mentor take you through this because it'll look a little bit different. Otherwise, you'll put your transaction fee to Cherry Creek Properties. You'll put the rest to yourself. Go ahead and put your name here. I would encourage you to do that. A lot of times they don't, and it's fine. But every now and then, the title company's like, well, I don't know. Who am I supposed to pay it to the rest of this? I mean, I see the thing here, but I don't see a name here. Feel like it should be obvious, but sometimes it's not, I guess. So it doesn't hurt to put your name there. You got your $199 there. You got the rest to you, and that is it. And even if you are in the mentor program, that will be how it goes for you very soon, I hope. So also down here, we've got, if you've got a mentor fee, they'll take you through that, and the referral fee. Or you can also, let's say you have a transaction coordinator. You want to get paid, have them get paid to cut a check to them right at closing too. Just go ahead and put it right in here. Put like GC. And 200. Whoops, not 2,100. Okay, now you got TC $200. Good, we got it. We understand what that is. We see that a lot. So not a big deal. If you really get stuck here or you get lost, you forgot everything I said or whatever, just call in or email file audit at CCPRE, those kind of things, and they'll bring you back up to speed. And sometimes you just got to do these once or twice before you get familiar enough to where you don't have questions. So that is the bulk of my material for you guys. We're actually a few minutes early on that, so that is good. Do we have any questions here before we wrap up? Yes, sir?
Sam, I started doing the web builder using the templates.
Okay.
And I went and finished it, and it said this user is not authorized to publish or something like that. Is there a process, or is it because I don't have my MLS number?
You're building a website?
Using the one that's built into the dashboard.
Okay. That is a website that I understand costs like $65 a month.
Okay.
So if that hasn't happened for your credit card yet, that's probably the thing that needs to happen in order to go live and publish and all that kind of stuff. The thing that I like about the site that we have run through here, if you want to spring $65 a month and do that, is it has an IDX feed on it. So people can search the MLS through there, and then all of your listings will populate on there automatically. That can be a good thing if you got lots of listings, or it can be not so good if you have nothing, and then your sellers are going to go there, oh, he doesn't have anything. That kind of stuff. So you can just kind of play that by ear, or leave the IDX feed out probably too. I imagine you can do that. And I think if you did that, it might actually cost a few bucks less. But at any rate, yeah, that is probably the trick to it. As far as how to do that, I would say come downstairs after the meeting, and we can clue you in on what the next step is. I don't know personally. We got a couple folks down there know better than me. So. Questions? I was just that thorough. You guys have done that good. All right, thank you guys for coming to orientation. Yes, you have something?
One question, Sam.
Sure.
Because I